Before we approach Maseches Pesachim Daf Yud Daled through Chaf Aleph, it's important to lay down an introduction about the rules of Tumah and how they apply, because these 7 bot will be primarily focusing on those halachos. Now, a source of Tumah itself is called an Av HaTumah. It's an Av because it's the source. When it transmits Tumah to something else, all those other Tumahs are called Vlodos HaTumah. They are children. They are descendants of the original Av, the source of Tumah itself. Now, the Tumah weakens as it's transferred from object to object. It gets weaker and weaker as it's progressively further along the line of transmission. And the Tumah can only affect things that are susceptible in a very sensitive way to the Tumah that it transmits. Different materials are more sensitive to Tumah than other ones. Some are very sensitive to Tumah, and they can become Tameh even far down the transmission line. Some are more impervious to Tumah, and they can only become Tameh high up the transmission line. So let's go through the list as follows, and of course there are many exceptions to the rule. So an Av HaTumah is a source of Tumah. That could be a piece of a mace, a dead body, or it could be a dead rodent, a sheretz. It could be also some of the fluids from a zav or a zava. These things create tumah. They are tumah in themselves. They are a source of tumah, and then they can transmit tumah to other things. Now, an object that becomes tumah by touching or coming in contact with one of the avos tumah, that object is what's called a rishon l'tumah. Anything can be a rishon l'tumah. It's a very strong level of tumah. It can affect pretty much anything. Second level tumah is called sheni l'tumah. That's something that becomes tumah from a rishon. And sheni is much more limited than a rishon. Sheni can only really be food or drinks. Can only be food or liquids. The other things that exist in the world are people and kalim. That's other objects, devices that you don't eat or drink. Those things cannot become tameh as a sheni. They are too insusceptible to tumah to become a sheni l'tumah, at least midoraisa. There will be many exceptions to midabana, as we shall see. A shlishi l'tumah can't even be regular food and drinks. A shlishi l'tumah, the third step in the transmission, can only apply to truma. Even not everybody agrees to that. Revi'i has to be a higher level of sensitivity, and that's something that has more kedusha, and that's a carbon, or something which is meant to be brought on the mizbech, karbonos. And a higher level than that would be chamishi l'tumah. That is not even clear if it exists at all, and the only thing that could become tummy on that level would be a paraduma, which is a very high level of kedusha. Now these are the rules of transmission. To sum it up from a different perspective, if a kli is tameh, it's gotta be a rishon, because it can't be a sheni. Food and drinks can be tameh if they are a rishon or a sheni. Certain types of drinks can also be an av hatumah. Truma, that can even be a shlishi, and kachim, that's karbanos, can even be a revi. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, of course. There are some exceptions which are deoraisa, and most notably there are many exceptions in midrabanan. One exception in midoraisa is a metal object which touches a dead body. You would ordinarily say that should be a rishon l'tumah. It was transmitted, it received the tumah from an avatumah. But there is a special cause here that metal object actually stays in av hatumah. The body itself that it touched is then called avi avos hatumah. It's the grandfather of tumah, because it's actually given birth to an avatumah. But that metal object actually is an avatumah, and something that it will touch will become a rishon l'tumah. Another exception which comes up often is that of liquids, drinks. Midrabanan, they have very susceptible, very powerful tumah abilities. First of all, they become a rishon l'tumah, even if they touch something which is not an avatumah. As a matter of fact, they can even become a rishon l'tumah by touching a sheni l'tumah. Midrabanan, liquids are terrible when tumah is concerned. Liquids which touch an avatumah, rishon l'tumah, or even a sheni l'tumah become a rishon l'tumah and can go transmit further. Another exception with regards to liquids is that liquids can even be metame a kli. Normally we said a kli can only become a rishon. That means it can only become tame from an avatoma. However, midirabanan, a kli can even receive tuma from liquids which are a rishon litama. Here is a brief introduction, and now let's jump into the limud of Maseches Pesachim Daf Yudalad through Chaf Aleph.